puppy was run over by a wagon. The man said he could bring it back to life. He told the people to turn back, and then he said an incantation. Then the puppy came back to life. Everyone couldn't believe it. The man said it was nothing. He could bring people back from the dead. Everyone's dead relatives came back to life. The villagers were so excited, they begged the man to bring them back. The man said that at tonight's midnight o'clock, he would bring back all the dead in the town. Villagers who've lost their families gather at the tavern. The man was seen drumming in the graveyard, and then he finally showed up, drinking a glass of whiskey. He says he's met with all the dead. They'll come back to life and be here in 5 minutes. Look at the mural on the wall. The bartender said it was his brother. He died unexpectedly last March. Man asks if he looks like him, and then a fat guy with a limp. Bingo. He goes on to say that the fat guy was the last to be buried, so he'd be the first to come to the tavern. He's on his way now. They all look out. A fat, limping man is walking toward the tavern, although it's a bit far away, but everyone recognized him as the bartender's brother. But then the bartender suddenly panicked. He said his brother was a thief. He had caused him a lot of trouble. He asked if he could keep his brother in his grave, and promised the man $500. The man says it's a complicated process. It costs $1,000. They haggled and settled for $750. With the deal done, the fat guy goes offline. Everybody returns to the tavern. The man says it's all the bartender's idea. Next up is the farmer's wife. She'll be coming for him soon. The farmer's face has changed. He said his wife used to play WWE with him. She even broke his left arm and it's still not healed. He didn't want his dead wife to come back too. He asked if he could pay for it. The man says $500. The farmer paid it. Then the sheriff came out. He yelled at them for being selfish, that they were selfish to leave their families behind. Then the man says, "You're next." He said there was a sharpshooter in town named Lightning Peterson. Is it true that you were afraid of his reputation? And then shot him the night before the duel. The sheriff was in a panic. The man said Lightning Peterson would be here soon. Maybe he'll continue the duel. The sheriff got scared. He promised to pay $500. The man didn't agree. Peterson's a powerful man. It took $1,200 to get him offline. The sheriff just gave him his wallet. Next up was this old lady. She says she remarried after her husband died. If he comes back to life, she'll have 2 husbands, so as not to get into trouble, so she paid $200. Then this woman, she didn't want her alcoholic father back. The man sees that she's pretty, so he gives her a free ride, and so it went on, one by one. Nobody wanted to bring back their dead relatives. The men simply lined them up to pay, and register the names of their loved ones. After all these operations, the man made a fortune. He drove his carriage to a cemetery in the countryside, and called the puppy from afar, and for the great show of playing dead, he rewarded it with a large bone. Then his companion appeared. It turned out he was playing the role of the bartender's brother. They checked their itinerary, and headed to the next town to repeat the trick. Before leaving, the man comes to the cemetery.
Real sorry, friend. I'm real sorry that I actually couldn't perform what I laid claim to. Rest in peace. All of you.
Then they drove off in a wagon. Soon after, the coffin boards in the cemetery gave way. The town's dead were crawling out of the dirt. They decided to go back home to talk to their families.